Welcome to Sense and Nonsense A to Z, where we pick topics based off of the letter of the day. Today is episode 22 of season 1, featuring the letter V.
We're family and we're your hosts, AT and Z. So let's get started. Hey, Vanakam.
Vanakam?
Vanakam. It's Tamil for hello.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
So, bunch of things going on.
Okay.
We just had my favorite day of the year, by the way.
Which was?
Summer solstice. It's not Christmas. Christmas is not my favorite day of the year, right? It's summer solstice.
Why is that?
Most daylight,
Ah,
right? The sun's at its highest point, and it's a wonderful day. I love it. You kidding me? Daylight until after 9 o'clock. It's a
it was
wonderful thing.
crazy. I know, it was crazy. I'm
I
like,
love
how
it.
am I going to get my kid to go to bed when it's still
Yeah.
light outside?
Yeah, you're gonna have to darken a room for that one. I know. So talk about solar system. We just had a rare alignment of 5 planets and the
Really?
moon. It just happened on the 24th. It happened like real early in the morning, like
Oh.
4:30. And I found out about 11:30 on Thursday night. And I'm like, great.
Mhm.
I'm still awake. What do I stay awake for this?
I
It's
know,
like,
right?
Yeah, no. So anyway, at the peak of the alignment, it was Mercury, Venus, then the moon, then Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn,
Wow.
all in alignment.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. You can see pictures. It's real cool. And unfortunately, won't happen again until 2040.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I have another bunch of stuff in the news, but you got anything going on?
Little guy graduated from 5th grade.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Today's his
yeah.
last day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is he happy?
He gave me a kiss and he said, bye.
Bye.
He
You
was like,
go. You
yeah.
go. I'm hanging out here for a
Yeah,
little bit longer.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cute.
Yeah. Mhm.
Very cute. All right. So I'm going to start with some sports stuff that's going on.
Okay.
All right. First, NBA draft just happened. And this is one thing I kind of watch. I'm not really an NCAA kind of person, but I
Mhm.
do watch New Jersey teams and North Carolina teams. And I really kind of like Duke and North Carolina. I like those two teams. But anyway,
Okay.
so Duke's always been on my radar. There's a guy, his name is Paolo Banchero. And he was drafted number 1 by the Orlando Magic. He's awesome. He's
Hmm.
only 19 years old.
Wow.
But what everybody's talking about is what he wore.
Uh-oh.
Somebody like that is the only one who could pull it off. You know, a young kid who's tall and fit, you know,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
handsome, you
mhm.
know. He had a royal purple suit on the shiny side,
Mhm.
and it had these dangly things all over it. It almost looked like drop earrings
Okay.
in a pattern, you know, on the back
Oh
of
my
his
goodness.
pants, the whole thing. And yeah, so everybody's talking about his suit. But yeah, he looked
Oh
good.
my goodness.
He looked good. Yeah, it's wild.
There is a new Adam Sandler movie called Hustle.
Mhm.
Did you see that?
I heard it's good.
I watched it.
Oh, cool.
It was very, very good.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is the most entertaining basketball I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I heard it's really
It
good.
was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so NHL playoffs just finished last night.
Mhm.
Colorado Avalanche beat the Tampa Bay Lightning to take the Stanley Cup in 6 games.
Yeah, you called that when we were on the phone.
I did,
You
didn't
said,
I?
yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
The NHL season trophies were announced last week. My New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin, took the Vezina Trophy, which is the best goaltender.
Oh,
He's only 26 years old, and he just got the trophy for best goaltender.
nice.
Also, he came in 3rd for the MVP for the Hart Trophy.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've actually
Yeah,
seen the
it's good.
Avalanche play.
They
Yeah,
were good. They were tough.
really good. Mhm.
Their defense was awesome. Yeah, it was a good series because
Mhm.
Tampa Bay's excellent too.
Mhm.
But that's really it that I have for sports. I have something that's not sports related. You want to get into that subject?
All right.
All right. It happens to be a V.
Okay.
It's venereal disease and
Oh, no.
Geico. And Geico. It's all
What?
over the news and people are talking about it. I mean, talk about the discussions that are going on right now.
Okay.
So it's been reported that Geico may have to pay a $5.2 million settlement to a woman who got an STD in a Geico insured car.
Oh my God. How?
Okay, so I'll tell you some of the history here.
Okay.
Apparently, it all started back in 2017 when this Missouri woman had unprotected sex with her then boyfriend in a 2014 Hyundai Genesis, where she contracted HPV, human papillomavirus.
Yeah.
It's in the US,
Yeah.
about 3 million cases a year.
This is the
That's a
thing
lot.
in Texas that they make you get a shot for when you're 12 years old or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. It's state law.
Oh my God. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So back in 2021, the woman informed Geico that she'd be seeking damages and that the man was negligent and didn't tell her about his health diagnosis. Geico denied the claim, citing damages did not arise out of normal use of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that her attorney probably pursued an assault case and just sued everybody. You know, that's the rule of thumb, sue everybody and see what sticks, right?
Yeah.
So Geico refused to have anything to do with it, also refused to represent the man when they went to arbitration. So during arbitration, the parties had agreed to $1 million to settle this, but Geico refused.
Mm-hmm.
Then a few weeks later, the Jackson County Circuit Court judge found that them having sex in the vehicle directly caused her to contract the virus and that he was liable for not disclosing his infection and awarded her the $5.2 million.
Holy crap.
And that the sum would fairly and justly compensate her in damages for past and future medical expenses, as well as past and future mental and physical pain and suffering.
This is a crazy precedent to be setting.
I know that. I think more so that Geico acted in bad faith when they refused to defend the man who owned the car after multiple requests and refused to settle a claim. The judge stated that she was insured against his personal liability arising from his negligence and actions involving his motor vehicle, which makes Geico responsible.
Wow.
So Geico claimed that they didn't have a chance to defend themselves, violating their constitutional rights to due process, and appealed. Then last week, the State Court of Appeals affirmed the lawsuit against Geico. Geico filed a federal lawsuit against both individuals, which is now set for jury trial in Kansas City this October. So this should be interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. So on all these shows, you have these attorneys talking about this. I think in the future, these auto insurance companies are going to have some sort of policy or clause or something that
can't have sex in your car.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So the dude knew that he had HPV.
Yes. And didn't disclose it to
her. A lot of people have it.
If millions of people get it every year, it has to, right?
Yeah. A lot of people have it and they don't know.
Yeah.
It's a precursor to different kind of cancers.
Cancer, right. I know.
You can have it and nothing could happen, or you could have it and something happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Something with warts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so that's what's going on.
This is nuts.
I know.
I want to sue everybody I ever met for everything they ever did to me. Because that seems to be the way stuff is going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to sue this kid from when I was 12 years old who did a very bad thing to me. I want to sue him now.
Yeah.
30 years later.
Well, I don't know if that something like that can stick.
I don't know.
Because there's a whole bunch of laws that, what
I don't know.
Called?
I would never have thought you would have been able to sue somebody for giving you HPV from having sex in their car.
Well, I know.
And suing the insurance company.
Yeah. But then again, how about all these people who went after the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, because that happened a long time ago.
Yeah,
So, what do they call that? The that precedent for time. What's that called?
Statute of limitations.
Thank you. I don't know.
I don't either.
I know. So it's very interesting. We'll see.
This
is something I'm going to follow, though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
I have something that was in the news.
Okay.
It's about Victoria's Secret, which is
another V.
Mm-hmm. There's a young songwriter on TikTok named Jax, and she writes little songs and posts them up, little silly snippets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her videos went viral after the young girl, probably about 12 years old, that she babysits, went bathing suit shopping at the mall with her friends. When Jax picked her up, she was crying and she was so upset because they were trying on bikinis in Victoria's Secret. And one of the girls that she was with said she was too fat and too flat for that bathing suit.
Now, this is one of her friends who said this?
Yeah, one of her quote unquote friends.
That she
You know,
went
that
there with.
mean
Okay.
girl kind of culture of
Great.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just great.
And I mean, looking at this girl, she has no fat on her at all. You know,
Really?
she's this little adorable, perfect skin and bones, basically
Really?
athletic looking body, 12-year-old.
Okay.
So it's ridiculous that that girl said
Somebody
that to
even
her
said
anyway.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jax was really upset by it, as one would be.
Sure.
And especially because in her younger days, she had an eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So she wrote a very cute but impactful song for her young ward. And in it, she says, I know Victoria's Secret. She was invented by a dude. He's an old man who lives in Ohio, cashing in on body issues, selling skin and bones with big boobs. And among other things she says in the songs, like she wishes somebody had told her this when she was young, that all bodies are different and that the Photoshop models are not indicative of real bodies.
Right.
And she goes on to say that her young friend is perfect. But I think that as women, we often forget that the people molding the image of what women should look like and formulating these beauty standards for the past 60 years has largely been men. You know,
Or more than 60 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've been dictated to for a long time in literally millions of ways that a certain type is the ideal. Yeah. And woe to the girls who aren't that type or who can't mold themselves into being that type.
Yeah.
According to YouGov America, 3/4 of Americans believe the media promotes an unattainable body image for women. And about half also believe that the media promotes an unattainable body image for men. 69% of Americans also agree that the fashion industry has a negative impact on the perception of body image.
Absolutely.
Now, there is a body positivity movement going on. It's mostly known from people 16 to 55.
Okay.
And those people do see it as a good thing. But it seems even with this movement, body image problems are still a huge issue.
Sure.
Especially with 1 in 2 women concerned with how they look coming out of the pandemic. In a multinational study in 2021, more than 50% of adults from the US, UK, Australia, France, and Germany reported experiencing weight stigma. Nearly 1 in 3 health club users report significant symptoms of body dysmorphia, of which 70% of these had an eating disorder.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I know.
In other studies, research has shown that around 50% of young 13-year-old Americans.
13. Okay.
13.
Okay.
These girls reported being unhappy with their body at
which means
13
7th
years
grade.
old.
Yeah. Definitely. I get it.
Yeah. This number grew to 80% by the time they were 17.
Oh, yeah.
And nearly 80% of young teenage girls report they fear becoming fat. In more than 50,000 male adults, 41% of men thought they were too heavy and were self-conscious about their weight. 16% reported being too uncomfortable to be in a swimsuit, and 11% thought that they were unattractive. So there's a great deal of evidence showing that mainstream media outlets continuously promote the notion that thinness is equated with numerous positive outcomes.
Yep.
In a study in 2004, 25 of the top children's videos, that more than 2/3 of these videos linked thinness and physical attractiveness with positive personality traits, while 75% of the videos linked obesity with unfavorable traits. And these depictions were even more exaggerated in 2010. 87% of female characters are portrayed as underweight in over 180 popular children's cartoon programs. This is like seriously messed up. A survey of 548 adolescent girls found that 69% acknowledged that images in magazines had influenced their conception of the ideal body, while 47% reported that they wanted to lose weight after seeing such images.
Oh, yeah.
So it's important to have media like Jax highlighting the positivity behind varied shapes and sizes and reminding us that these ideals are entirely made up and not inherently true. The video got more than 13 million views in a week, with viewers loving the message being sent. And I wonder what it's going to take to get mainstream media more on board with this. I mean, I'm slowly starting to see ad campaigns that are more inclusive, but that's still mostly in print ads and commercials, not in
Yeah.
magazines or cartoons or actual TV and movies.
Right.
And according to Harvard researchers, it takes 5 positive comments to counteract the effects of 1 negative one. So even with the smattering of body positive images out there, it's not nearly enough to counteract the damaging ones that we're bombarded with every day.
Right. Right.
This
That's
is
great.
ridiculous.
Well, I think that that's a very interesting study that you just said. It takes 5 positives
5.
to interact 1 negative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we're not just talking about this subject.
Right.
We're talking about like any subject.
Any thoughts, anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
To counteract 1, you got to have 5. And how many times a day do we hear positive
Really,
things?
it's all
Really?
negative.
It's all negative.
Yeah.
In any industry, you look at the news, it's all negative.
It's all negative. That's why I can't watch the news anymore. I just
Me
can't.
either. I mean, I feel like I've been hit by a truck after I watched the news. I'm so depressed,
I know.
So we're behind the 8 ball, and we're getting crushed basically with all these images telling us we're not good enough in any given day, and we're hardly ever getting any feedback at all in the positive light, especially not with body issues.
Right.
So we're coming into swimsuit season here, if we're not in it already. I mean, we've been to
and
the
I'm
pool.
not comfortable in a swimsuit right now.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either. And it's a shame that,
I got to lose this pandemic weight.
And that's the thing. Like, I feel like I was in good shape before the pandemic.
I was too. Yep.
And now I just feel like that's all gone. And with
know.
all the negativity and everything that's been happening, I feel constantly under stress, which we know is like the kryptonite to losing weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So we stress out about it, which makes it even worse.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Counteractive.
I know.
Yeah. I have carefully crafted 10 questions, letter V edition. Are you ready?
Yeah, I cannot wait for these carefully crafted questions.
V's not easy either. Just like you. V wasn't easy. Anyway, okay. Ever been to a volcano?
No.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay.
never. How about you?
I have to Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about it. I didn't go to the big one, but we saw some little ones. Okay. Next one. Some of these are weird. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to apologize before I even go to this one. Are women from Venus?
Women are from Earth and men are from Mars.
It's going to be your new book. Okay.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, we're definitely from Venus. We're from another planet, and they're out there.
They're way out there. They're from
way out
Pluto.
there.
They're not even a planet anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Do you have anything vintage?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say my Queen stuff is vintage.
What qualifies as vintage anymore? Is that 30 years?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Then yeah, I got a lot.
Yeah.
I got a lot of vintage stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Ever thought about going vegan?
No.
Yeah, me neither. How about vegetarian?
Yes, I did for a while. I did.
And I do for Lent.
Yeah.
For Greek Lent, I do. Yeah.
Every once in a while I need that dose of red meat.
Yeah.
So I don't eat that much, but I do a lot of chicken. I'll be honest. I do a lot of chicken.
Every so often I do too. Okay. What is your go-to type of vinegar?
Red wine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I love balsamic.
Yeah, I do
Don't
too.
get me wrong, but like I put red wine vinegar on sandwiches, all kind of dressings, and I love balsamic, but
I do too for dressing.
Yeah, but red wine is just a little bit more versatile. You can put it in other stuff. You can put it in sauce, stuff like that.
Yeah, and of course, white is like only for cleaning.
Cleaning, that's it. Yeah.
Period.
Or like spraying your plants. That's it.
That's it, right? Okay, if you were casted in an acting gig, would you be a Vulcan or a vigilante?
Vigilante.
You would? I would have thought you would have said Vulcan.
No, I'll be a vigilante.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I would definitely be a vigilante, no doubt about it.
I want to be Batman. Are you kidding me?
Of course.
I mean, that's been the dream forever, right?
I don't want to be Spock.
I mean, I like Spock, but I don't want to be Spock.
You
want to be Batman.
No, I want to be Batman.
I want to be Batman. I don't want to be Catwoman neither. I want to be Batman.
Okay. Do you miss playing volleyball?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do too. I have something about volleyball coming up, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. Name something vanilla that you like.
Ice cream.
That's mine for
I-
sure. That's my favorite ice cream.
I
is
just had vanilla custard ice cream yesterday.
Oh,
It
that's
was,
good.
it was really good.
Was it
It's
yummy?
really good. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about Valentine's Day?
I mean, any day you celebrate love is a good day. I think
Hmm.
it's a little bit commercial, but
Oh, big time.
yeah.
I still like it though. Okay. Here's the last one.
Okay.
What's the most important vitamin to take daily?
C.
C is
Um,
Charlie.
I
Okay.
mean, I guess for most people it's C.
Mhm.
For me, it's iron.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say C. Like I really try to make sure
Yeah.
little
I do
guy
too.
gets
Something.
C.
Something.
Yeah.
All
Keeps
right.
the scurvy away.
I guess. Yeah. So that's what I got.
All right.
My carefully crafted ones. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Sense or nonsense?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
The
ready.
topic is, I know you can't wait to hear the topic.
I know. I want to see what it is.
All right,
Nothing
letter
can
V?
beat urine.
I thought urine was good. I really did. I thought it was interesting.
It was interesting. Okay.
It was. All right. So the V, vodka.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Maybe I'll redeem myself here. All righty. Sense or nonsense? Vodka was originally made from potatoes.
Sense.
Nonsense.
Dang.
Russia is not the birthplace of vodka. It's actually Poland in the 8th century. And since the Spanish conquistadors brought potatoes to Europe from Peru in the 16th century, potatoes couldn't have been the original.
Oh no.
vodka.
What did they
Yeah.
make it vodka from?
From corn, rice, and wheat.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
Sense or nonsense?
Okay.
Vodka is gluten-free.
Sense.
She said sense.
Sense. Did you not hear me say sense? Is it not gluten free?
It is gluten-free. You would be correct. I just
Thank
wanted to make
goodness.
sure it was known that you said sense. Even though vodka is made from grains such as what I just mentioned,
Yeah.
the distillation process strips away the gluten proteins, which makes it gluten-free.
Yeah. I figured. Yeah.
All right. Sense or nonsense? Vodka is lighter than water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
answer clear and please answer clearly.
Yes. Sense.
Correct.
Okay.
It is sense. Vodka is made from distilled grains or potatoes, which means that it contains fewer volatile substances than H2O, which makes it lighter in weight. 1 liter of vodka weighs 950 grams, whereas 1 liter of water weighs 1,000 grams.
At
There you
least
go.
I did as good as I did with urine. I would have been really upset if I did better in urine.
Okay, so some information on vodka. Today's
Okay.
vodka is the purest alcohol available on the market because it contains no sugar, no carbs, and no calories.
Mm-hmm.
It also effectively neutralizes jellyfish stings, eases toothaches, and prevents poison ivy outbreaks by effectively washing away the urushiol oil.
Uh-huh.
Aha. Going back to the jellyfish with the
Yeah.
urine.
Yeah.
See how this all ties together?
It all ties together.
You know, it's also the main ingredient in do-it-yourself face toners, masks, scrubs, cleansers, and shaving cream.
You're
And I
kidding.
found a recipe for shaving cream. I did. A 1/2 cup of vodka, 1/4 cup of witch hazel, a pinch of alum, tablespoon of glycerin, a couple drops of eucalyptus oil, and a couple drops of peppermint oil, and whip it up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And talk about recipes. Vodka is widely used in cooking. Most notable is the vodka sauce for pasta.
So yummy.
Yeah,
I love that.
From tomato sauce, cream, and vodka.
I
Yep.
love vodka rigatoni.
Oh yeah, so
So
good.
good.
Also in seafood dishes. But as for baking, you can substitute water in a pie crust with vodka, which prevents gluten from forming during the baking process, which makes pie crust flakier.
Holy cow.
Yeah. A couple of recipes that I had seen, like let's say something calls for a cup of water. They say to substitute a quarter of the cup of water with a quarter of vodka, and it'll zip up your recipe.
Wow.
Yeah. So a little tidbit. All righty. Vodka is also an excellent disinfectant, which was used in previous wars to treat soldiers' wounds. It was also given to the soldiers as an anesthetic.
Yeah. I mean, down
So,
the hatch.
yeah,
There
down the
you
hatch,
go.
and
Mhm.
we'll clean your wound with
Yeah,
it.
and we'll dig your bullet out
Yeah,
after. Yeah.
yeah. It's been marketed for medicinal purposes as a wonder drug to treat everything from cold sores to the plague.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
So if you drink enough vodka, you don't care if you have the plague? Is that how it works?
I guess that is. Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. Moderate use of vodka can possibly have many health benefits, such as healthy cholesterol, healthy arteries, reducing strokes, heart attacks, and Alzheimer's.
Really?
Yeah. Because vodka contains fewer impurities, a hangover from vodka is less severe than from other spirits.
How about that?
Mhm. Drinking ice cold vodka is an actual thing. When frozen, the ice crystals form inside the bottle, dilutes the spirit, thus making it smoother. And how many times have you seen somebody with Absolute in their freezer?
I used to do it.
You
Grey
used to do
Goose.
it too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to put it in the freezer. Yeah.
Yeah. Even though potatoes were proven to be a viable source in vodka production and a bit creamier, most modern vodkas are grain-based, which in turn makes them lighter in texture and more desirable.
Mm.
Vodka can pretty much last forever if unopened and stored away from light. But once opened, it's recommended that you consume it within a year.
How about that?
As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go get a bottle of vodka. I'm not a drinker. You know that.
Me either. No, I stopped a long time ago, but I will be honest. I do love a dirty martini.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like a clean one.
No, I like a dirty one. Give me the juice and give me the olives. And yeah.
Well, see, and going back to the vitamin C with the vitamins,
Mhm.
that's a perfect drink.
It is.
Vitamin C and vodka is a perfect drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm going to go get a bottle of Absolute.
Why not?
I convinced myself.
There you go. It's medicinal. That's what they used to say back in the day, right?
Yeah, it's medicinal. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like I was saying, it was marketed as medicinal and a wonder drug. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've picked my favorite actor for V, and I think it's pretty obvious who I'm going to pick. It is Val Kilmer.
I knew it.
Yeah, I know.
Of course.
We've been talking about him, and he
Yes.
just did Maverick and everything,
Yep.
and I feel like this was a no-brainer. So Val Edward Kilmer was born on December 31st, 1959. So he's a New Year's Eve baby in Los Angeles, California. And he's the middle son of three kids, all boys. The birthday book says December 31st is the day of aesthetic promotion. Those born on December 31 are drawn toward aesthetic experiences of many types, and in their careers often work to promote beauty or harmony in one form or another. Many December 31 people display what amounts to a worship of literature, art, and music. And I think this is very true for Val. He was involved with acting, documenting, and making art from a very, very early age. He has a whole warehouse full of home videos, auditions, scripts, poetry, paintings, and stuff that he's made throughout his entire life. December 31 folks must be aware of dictating to others concerning what is or is not beautiful. Sometimes it's just another person's taste. And Val for a while had a reputation for being perceived as difficult to work with or exacting. And that perhaps he was a perfectionist. So he went to Juilliard as a teen, and he was the youngest to be accepted at that time. So yeah, he takes acting really seriously. And he does have standards. We've talked about this before. What is wrong with having standards?
No less high standards. There's nothing wrong with that.
What's wrong with trying to put out the best project you can and pushing people who may not be giving their best to do better?
Absolutely nothing. Nothing
right?
wrong with that. No.
Other people whose standards may be lower often find people with higher standards to be quote unquote difficult. But when you hear from people with equally high standards, they're like, no, this person is not difficult to work with at all.
Yeah.
So perspective is huge.
Sure.
Others born on this day are Henri Matisse, Elizabeth Arden, Diane von Furstenberg, Ben Kingsley, Anthony Hopkins, Donna Summer, and John Denver.
Okay.
We just talked about, he went to Juilliard.
Yeah.
And he loved being on stage. He started on the stage and he very much wanted to play Hamlet. And he finally did in 1988 at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. And then his first Hollywood movie was Top Secret in 1984. And it was a spoof movie that he finds difficult to describe even now. It was very chaotic and it was crazy. I saw this movie years and years and years ago. But the one thing he did not appreciate was that he spent 4 months busting his hump to learn how to play guitar. And then when it came time to do it, they were like, oh, we like it better when you fake it.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He didn't appreciate that. I don't think I would have either.
But it was very useful for him in the future.
Well, you know, you never know when these skills are going to come in handy. But at the time, he was kind of like, oh,
yeah, of course. Of
thanks
course.
a lot.
I wasted all that time.
Exactly. Yeah. But we've talked about this before. In 1986, he did Top Gun. He played Iceman. And he said
that's where I first saw him.
Yeah. And he said that since he played Iceman, every pilot in every airport that he's ever been in has called him Iceman.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to make you feel awesome, though.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And we also talked about him just doing Maverick, Top Gun Maverick as well.
And you loved that movie.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I really did. And he was good in it. In 1988, he was in Willow. And I loved that movie as a kid. I mean, loved. I saw it so many times. And he met Joanne Whalley in that, who would later become his wife. They're making a series about Willow now. And
that almost doesn't surprise me. I'm surprised it took this long.
It's on Disney Plus. It's called Willow. It's based off of the movie. And Warwick Davis is going to be in it. It's coming out the end of November. And the showrunner had said that they didn't want to do it without Val and that he was an integral part of the project. But I'm not sure in what capacity, because he's not reprising his role of Mad Mardigan, but somehow he is involved. So I guess we'll find out at some point. So in 1991, he was Jim Morrison in The Doors. He did all his own singing. And a lot of times the surviving band members couldn't tell the difference. And it was a huge movie for him. I mean, it was so big.
Yeah.
This movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. And it is 1993's Tombstone.
Really?
Val played Doc Holliday, which is not only my favorite role of his, but is one of my favorite roles of all time. Seriously, it's up there. He and Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday is just perfection. I loved it. And it has been a favorite of mine since probably 1993. I've seen it so many times. I owned it on VHS. I had it on DVD. I have it on Blu-ray. I love it.
I'm thinking that we had talked. Did we talk about Tombstone?
I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
Vaguely
with Kurt
before
Russell, maybe?
with Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because I remember you mentioning Tombstone.
Yeah. So. I love this movie. And it's one of those iconic movies. He said that he liked being Doc Holliday. It was fun to be insightful and aristocratic, to stand up for your friend and make sacrifices for him. It was fun to be arrogant like he was and have the goods to back it up. He was a very noble character, although let's not forget, he did kill a lot of people. Which,
that's what happened in those days.
It's
That's
very
just
true.
The way it is. Yep.
But he had tuberculosis in the movie and he does wind up dying. And the death scene between him and Kurt Russell is just, it makes me cry every single time. Love it. Love it. Love it. Then he played Batman in 1995 in Batman Forever with Nicole Kidman. And while he doesn't say anything bad about the movie or anything, he does say that it was very difficult to act in the Batman suit. He couldn't hear anything. And as a result, people stop talking to you when you can't hear them.
Oh, really?
So it was very like isolating to play
Mhm.
Batman, which is weird because
I've heard that
Bruce
before from
Wayne is
somebody
very,
else.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm,
tough. It's
I'm
tough.
trying to think. It was from the guy who did Beetlejuice. Help me.
Michael Keaton.
Thank you. I think I heard him say how difficult it was to act in that suit.
Yeah. And I think Ben Affleck too. He's like, you can't move your head. You got to move your whole body. You can't turn
Sure.
and, do stuff like that. So playing Batman's a challenge. In 1995, also, he was in Heat with Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Ashley Judd. And that's a huge takeaway experience for him. He said, you always be able to say with Al and Bob. And he's very touched by that, even now. In 1997, he played the Saint. And I really liked this movie. He played Simon Templar, and he got to play like 10 different characters in this movie because he had all those disguises and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I liked it too.
Fun.
Well, I grew up watching The Saint as far as a TV show.
Yeah. Now I have to mention this one because it's so fun and I love it. In 2005, he was in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Robert Downey Jr.
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh. Val played Gay Perry, and he winds up kissing Robert Downey Jr. in one of the scenes, and it's hilarious.
Really?
It's so funny. It's a fun movie, and RDJ says that this role is what got him considered for Tony Stark. So without this role, probably
no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And as a show of support for Robert Downey Jr.'s recovery from alcohol and drugs, Val Kilmer refused to drink during the entire production.
Kudos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The last thing I'm going to mention, the last acting gig I'm going to mention is in 2014, he did the last episode of Psych.
You had mentioned that. I haven't gotten to that yet.
I hate to be a spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
I'm
almost done with season 7, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Throughout the series of Psych, they mention Val Kilmer periodically.
Yes, multiple times.
But always in a very loving, wonderful manner.
Yeah.
And in the final episode, Sean is saying goodbye to people in the department, friends, whatever. And he makes all these little DVDs. And you see him saying goodbye to Detective Dobson, who we never see. We never have seen Detective Dobson. He's been referred to. People have talked to him. Lassie yells at him, all kind of stuff. But we've never had him. And it turns out that Val Kilmer is Detective Dobson.
That's cool.
It's very cool. And he turns around and he's like, the guy's never talked to me in 8 years and you're sending me a goodbye. It's so good. So Val Kilmer also wrote, directed, and performed a one-man play about Mark Twain. And he performed it in various cities, and he was in the middle of the tour. And that's when he had to stop because he lost his voice due to throat cancer.
Right.
And
that was called Citizen Twain, right?
That's right.
Yes.
And I've seen some little clips of it, and it was very funny. It's a shame because
really?
he was going to take it to Broadway. Yeah, it was very, very funny. I think he was on Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy was like, bring this to Broadway, please, please, please. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I think that was the plan, but of course that plan got derailed.
Right.
In 2021, he put out Val, which is a documentary about his life in acting. It gives you a look into his life and his thought processes and the things that drive him. And it's pretty honest. He doesn't really, try and shine. He's pretty raw and abundantly obvious that he adores his children, which was really, really lovely to see. And I mean, since they're born, and there's footage of it, so you can actually see it happening. And it was really, really touching. And in it, a bunch of people are featured in like archival interviews.
Sure.
And one of the things is about, Oprah asking him if he's difficult. He has this reputation, other people asking him, other people in the media pointing out that he's difficult and everything. And one of the clips is of Robert Downey Jr. and him going, no, Val is not difficult. And if anybody is going to say that somebody's difficult, it's going to be Robert Downey Jr.
He's painfully honest. Yes.
He is and he does not care about hurting your feelings. You know what I'm saying? Your reputation, he does not care. So just for that reason alone, he's
okay in my book.
He's okay in my book. So it was really touching. It was touching to see him also interacting with fans and how patient he was and generous. And it was really nice to see them giving love back to him too. But it was done in such an unpretentious way that you don't feel like it was like a narcissistic pat on the back or anything like that. One of the things was at Comic-Con and just having to give autographs and having to do the same thing over and over. And somebody saying to him constantly, can you write, you can be my wingman anytime, over and over and over. And just like how wearing that must be. But like the guy never complained the whole time. He was just like, yep, every time, you know, and for doing that for hours and hours and hours. It was very touching. It was very moving. It's worth it if you are at all interested. And there has been some speculation that Val's acting days may not be over yet, since the voice simulation that they did on Maverick was so successful that they might use that to do it again in the future. But he hasn't mentioned that he wants to do anything yet. So I think that's just going to be a wait and see how that shakes out. How it goes down the line. Yeah. But I wanted to mention him because I think he's underrated. You know, I like him a lot. I like him in so many things that I've seen. And there are some really iconic movies that are high up on my list that he's been a part of. So I wanted to feature him on V.
Very cool.
Yes. So I just mentioned Tombstone, which I love. And in that movie is a quote from Doc Holliday, and it's in Vino Veritas. It is a V. So that's why I figured I'd mention it. In Vino Veritas is Latin, and it means in wine there is truth. And since we were talking about vodka, and since we were talking about...
We talked about Latin a couple episodes ago.
Exactly. I thought that this was appropriate to mention as a movie quote. So in Vino Veritas.
Cool. Very cool. And you know, Latin is not dead, folks.
It is not. And I'm making it like my personal mission to revive it.
I think that's a great idea.
Between Uxorius and in Vino Veritas, I am on my way.
Beautiful. So in response to your Latin saying, starting with the letter V, I've got one too. It's Veni, Vidi, Vici.
Oh,
it's attributed to Julius Caesar. I came, I saw, I conquered.
I
wanted to go one step further. What's interesting is that it was on the Marlboro box in their logo.
Oh.
The ribbon on their logo used to have those 3 words on it years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they did.
Yeah, they did.
You
know what's funny? When I was looking this up, they're talking about having cannabis cigarettes now.
I'm not surprised.
A box of cannabis cigarettes, Marlboro.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not either.
The tobacco industry is taking a huge dive. They've got to get in there somehow.
Yeah. Hey, when you think about it, they've got the plant, you know? All they have to do is bring in new leaves.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I wonder if they'll be like filtered, non-filtered, menthol. God,
I can see maybe menthol, but I don't know about filtered. Why would you want to filter it, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless there's a light. Oh, we're going to put a filter on it because we want to make a cannabis light.
You know, they're going to put chemical additives and stuff, just like they did with tobacco, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
They took a completely natural product and they put formaldehyde in it.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about that.
If they get their hands on cannabis.
Yeah. When we first started doing our podcast and we were doing like favorites, we started doing music and stuff. I remember making a mental note that when I get to V, it's going to be Van Halen.
Yeah.
All started back in 1964 with Eddie and Alex Van Halen, respectively, age 9 and age 11.
I mean, come on.
They were doing backyard parties and
how adorable.
I know. And this goes with almost every band, especially at that age. You pick a stupid name. And of course, that name's never going to stick.
No.
Their first name was Broken Combs. Then it turned into Trojan Rubber Company. Then it went to Genesis.
Ooh.
I know. And this is back in 1972. They had a bassist. His name was Mark Stone, one of their friends. Then since they figured out that, hey, there's a band that's called Genesis and they're
Yeah.
pretty big,
Yeah.
they changed their name to Mammoth.
I'm glad they changed that.
David Lee Roth signed on 1974, and he's the one who suggested, let's change it to Van Halen.
It's a great band name. It's
Absolutely.
a great band name.
The same year, Mark Stone was replaced with Michael Anthony. And by the way, Mike Anthony's real name is Sobolewski.
What?
Yeah, Anthony's his middle name.
Oh, that was smart.
I think it was too.
Yeah, that was smart. You know, whenever Van Halen is mentioned, I always think of this, and I think he's very underestimated, but Michael Anthony's harmonies cannot be underestimated.
They are. As a matter of fact, Sammy is the one who really brought that out to light. I remember him giving him kudos all the time that Van Halen is not Van Halen vocals without Michael Anthony's harmonies.
I agree 100%.
I do too. So it all started with David Lee Roth, right?
Sure did.
Diamond Dave.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the band from 74 to 85. And then I was really surprised that they asked Sammy Hagar.
Really?
The Red Rocker. I really was, because he was a successful solo artist.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. As a matter of fact, Can't Drive 55 is one of my ringtones. You know, I really love Sammy.
Speaking of vodka, it's not vodka, but he's got Cabo Wabo tequila.
That's right.
You know, this is a very alcohol heavy episode, I gotta say.
If you're going to ask me what's my favorite Van Halen, is it the one with David Lee or if it's the one with Sammy? It's a tough question for me because I love them both.
I know.
I don't know if I can pick one. I really don't.
I split Van Halen. I have my favorite song with David Lee Roth, and I have my favorite song with Sammy Hagar. But I will say this.
Okay.
With David Lee Roth, I think of Van Halen as a fun, light, kind of poppy group. And with Sammy, I think of Van Halen as a rock band. The songs are more complex.
I get it.
There's more depth to them.
Yeah.
Sammy's got a lot of feeling in his voice.
No doubt.
Songs are very impactful.
No doubt. Yeah.
And so that's how I think of Van Halen as two completely different bands.
I get what you're saying, because with David Lee Roth, it was more sexy stuff.
Yeah. It was fun, and it had a sultriness to it. And you know, and in a lot of ways it was lighthearted.
Yeah. Sammy was with the band from 1985 to 1996. Then in 96, David came back very briefly.
Yeah.
Then they went into another direction with Gary Sharon. There's another band I loved. I loved Extreme. When I heard that he was going from Extreme to Van Halen, that was really a head scratcher for me. It really was. He was with the band from 96 to 99. Then they went off on hiatus. Sammy came back in 2003 to 2005. And then after Sammy left, Michael Anthony left in 2006. And then Wolfgang, Eddie's son, Eddie and Valerie Bertinelli's son.
Yep. Wolfie.
Yeah. Let's see. He came in 2006. And then David came back in 2007 to 2020 until Eddie passed.
Yeah. Which is heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking and tragic. Okay. Let me go through some of the albums.
Okay.
And this way we can talk about some of our favorite songs too.
Okay. I'm going to tell you that I am not very well versed on which songs go with which albums.
It's okay. Their first album, which happens to be my favorite album.
Okay.
Van Halen, 1978. And I think they have so many hits because when they got signed, they had hundreds of songs in their back pocket because they've been playing since they were kids, you know? First album, Running with the Devil, which happens to be my favorite song.
Is it?
It really is. And I have a little story about that.
Okay.
I remember where I heard it first. And this is the first song that I ever heard from Van Halen. I was driving from Edison to Jackson because we were building a house in Jackson. I took Route 9, hopped onto 537. When I turned on to 537, you can get the Philly stations. At that point, I flipped over and I heard this song, Running with the Devil.
That's got really good harmonies in it.
Oh, it's driving.
Yeah.
I mean, a driving beat. It's a powerful song. I actually pulled over, got out my pen and a paper and wrote down the name of the song because I waited, to hear
what it was.
who it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and I wrote down Van Halen. And then I got to Jackson and I said to hubby, I was like, I just heard this fantastic song from this band I never heard of before. Went out and I got the album. So that's my personal story about Running with the Devil.
Nice.
And it's still my favorite song to this day. Okay, so second album is Van Halen 2, 1979. Third, Women and Children First, 1980. Fair Warning, 81. Diver Down, 82. Then goes to my next favorite.
Okay.
1984.
Yeah,
and here are some of the biggies.
Oh,
this is a biggie. It really is. I mean, there was so much stuff going on in 1984 too.
Yes.
If you remember, I know you're
I don't
very
much.
young.
Yeah.
You're very young. There's a whole theory that it was going to be the end of the world.
Yes.
In 1984.
Yeah.
So it was really huge. And anyway, on a lighter note, here are some of the songs. Jump, Panama, of which I have a story about Panama.
And Jump and Panama are two of my favorite songs. Jump is my favorite David Lee Roth era song.
Yep.
My favorite one.
Top Jimmy, Drop Dead Legs, Hot for Teacher, and
great.
I'll Wait.
And that was a great video too, Hot for Teacher.
Oh my God.
It was a great
with
video.
The young kids.
Yeah.
Oh, they were awesome. Okay, so Panama. Back when I worked in an office, all the girls, we would just go out to lunch all together. We'd all pile into somebody's vehicle. One of the girls had to borrow her dad's car, and he had a 4-door. So it was a wonderful thing. And it was bright orange. We would kind of make fun that, we're going to go in a bright orange car. And she had mentioned one time that her father was insistent that that wasn't orange. That was Panama red.
Oh.
And from there, we called it Panama. So, okay, we're going out to lunch. Who's driving? I brought Panama today, so let's take Panama. And then this song comes out. We freaked out when this happened. We freaked out. Moving on. Sammy comes in. Their first album with Sammy was 5150.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the name of their studio. So Eddie wanted a studio, so this way he can have more control over the recording process. Ever since the album 1984, everything from there has been recorded at the studios 5150, but they also named the album that. 5150 comes from the legal code, which means a person with mental illness to be voluntarily detained for a 72-hour psychiatric hospitalization.
Oh my God, Eddie, what are you thinking?
Actually, it's the engineer who came up with that. He heard it over the scanner, 5150. Perfect name.
Yeah.
That's where that came from. 5150.
Right.
Next album, OU812, which is one of my favorite albums, which is my favorite Sammy album. When It's Love, Cabo Wabo, Feel So Good, Finish What You Started, and one of my personal favorite songs, and I love singing this song, is Black and Blue.
Oh, yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah. I love When It's Love. I think that one is tied for me for my favorite Sammy song.
Yeah.
When It's Love.
It's funny. As soon as you said that, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so heartfelt. It's such a good song.
Yeah. Okay. So next one was a biggie. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah, we love
1991.
Yeah, that's a great album. I just got chills.
Pound Cake, Right Now.
Right Now. That's the one that's tied for me with Right Now and When It's Love. Pound Cake is a good song too.
Well, Right Now, they won Best Video.
MTV. Socially conscious. It's a socially conscious song, but it's also very, very personal.
So as a matter of fact, they also won a Grammy for Best Hard Rock Performance for that album.
Deserved.
And the other song is Top of the World. I love that too. Next album is Balance, 1995 with Sammy. And then came Gary Sharon. Actually, Balance is my last album that I have. I have all the albums up till Balance. Van Halen 3, 1998 with Gary. I never
got into it.
Me neither.
I never got into it.
And apparently neither did Warner Brothers, because when they submitted their second album, Warner Brothers sent it back.
Really? Oosh, that hurts.
Yeah. And then their last album with Wolfie was A Different Kind of Truth in 2012. And that's really been it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they lost me after Sammy left, and then it was like Gary and then David and then Sammy. And then I was like, what the hell's going on here?
I know.
Some kind of weird dysfunction happening.
I never felt the Gary thing. I really didn't. And I love Extreme.
Yeah.
You know, I just never got that.
Well, when Sammy came in, I remember it was a surprise, but I was like, okay, you know.
Yo, I get it.
Yeah,
I get
and
it. Yeah.
he fit, and I liked. I immediately liked the direction that they were going in.
Yeah, me too. And you're right; it was a total different direction, but it was excellent.
Yeah, I liked it very much. It was like a different level of band. It had more depth. It was much more intense. The songs were longer. The David Lee Roth version, the songs were shorter. They were like 3 minutes and something. Yeah. But like with Sammy, they were all like 5:40.
There was more substance to them.
There was. And musically, they were more complex. I felt like Eddie was doing more, and they just felt more impactful, the songs. But like then Gary came in and I was like, it never felt right to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2007 by Velvet Revolver.
God, I love Scott Weiland.
Yeah. So he and Slash helped, and the guys, they all helped. It was both Sammy and David Lee Roth.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes. And if you see the induction, only 2 guys went there. It was only Michael Anthony and Sammy.
Really?
And and Michael Anthony spoke first, and he actually thanked Gary Cherone. During his speech. I thought that's
classy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then Sammy came on, said at that time Eddie was recovering.
Yeah.
And they pretty much said, look, he's going to be in a better place, blah, 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 blah. But you couldn't keep me away from this, you know?
Yeah.
Sammy was funny. He was really, really good. And then they played. They were excellent. I have another personal story. This involves you.
This is the seaweed?
It is.
Okay.
How old would you say you were? About 12?
Probably. Right there. No older than 12, I don't think.
Yeah. You were young. Hubby and I decided that we were going to go out on the boat, and we brought you with us. Always.
Yeah.
And we always go to the area where at low tide, these islands come up. So, you know, we anchor, jump on an island, take the volleyball, bump the volleyball around, blah, 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 blah. The one day we were going towards the inlet, and I look to the left and I see the sand dunes at the end of Island Beach State Park. And on the sand dune, somebody previously spelled out his name, or somebody spelled out his name for him, whatever it was seaweed. And it was kind of falling apart, but we saw it. It was VAN, Van. So I said to hubby, I said, we're going over there. So he agreed. Went that way, throw the anchor out. And you and I had a mission.
We had a mission.
We not only cleaned up the seaweed van, but we gathered more seaweed and spelled out Halen.
Yep.
So it was a huge van.
It took us a while.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough. That was
it did.
We were sweating. Oh, we were sweating.
You were so young, but we were sweating. We were working, boy. We were working it. I know I have a picture of it someplace.
I know.
Too.
I can still see it in my mind.
Right?
Yes.
And the van wasn't really spelled out like perfect block letters.
No.
We cleaned the whole thing up.
It was perfect.
It was perfect.
And it was all even, which is a miracle considering that
we took a step back to
look at it. We would run back in the water, look, and then be like, no, you're going to move it this way. You gotta do this. It was a project.
It was
probably the hardest I'd ever worked on anything up until that
point in your life.
Yes. For nothing. It was for nothing. It was for a picture. You know,
it was for us. Come on.
Know.
It was for us for later so we could talk about it on our podcast. Come on.
We had no idea. It only took us 30 years to make it worthwhile. But I mean, I remember that. I will never forget that.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure you were going to remember it, but I was like, you've got a really good memory.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. You really do. Okay. So I have another V to go along with this.
Okay.
And I made a little bit of a mention to it. And this person's kind of in the news this month too. It's Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah.
And I loved her. I loved
too.
her from One Day at a Time.
Yeah.
She was, she was like
sweet. She was girl
very
next
sweet.
door.
Yeah, the girl next door. Exactly.
Yeah,
I liked her in Hot in Cleveland. And of course,
you have mentioned that. I have not watched it yet, but it is on my list.
Yeah. I love Betty White,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. You'll like it. It's funny. It's just funny.
Yeah.
And it's light,
Yeah.
And of course, she and Eddie had a son, Wolfgang. He was born in 1991. And she didn't want to give him a regular name. She wanted it special. I think she nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not common.
Yeah. So they separated in 2001 and divorced in 2007. In her autobiography, she made a mention that it was because of his addictions and his refusal to quit smoking, even after he went through oral cancer. So I guess it was just total frustration on her part.
They remained close, though.
They did, of course. But in the news now, after 10 years of marriage to her second husband, Tom Vitale, who is a financial planner, they're getting divorced.
Are they?
Yeah, unfortunately. But he's taken her to court because he wants spousal support and is challenging the validity of their prenuptial agreement. Dude.
Wow.
You're a financial planner. Get back to work. Come on.
Wow.
Come on. He's only 58. So she married a younger guy, but still, she's 62 now. And yeah, I'm like, wow, that's in the news right now. That just came out the other week. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, Valerie.
Yeah, me too.
But good for you, because obviously
she's got to do what she's got to do. And she's doing great on the Food Network.
Yeah, she's got a great show. I've watched it. I've watched her show. She's very personable. She's very bubbly and sweet. And
yeah, as a matter of fact, she's won some awards too.
Has she?
Yeah. Some daytime Emmy awards.
Nice. She had Betty White on there a couple times. She had her Hot in Cleveland girls on there.
Did she?
She made them lunch and stuff. Yeah.
Of course she did. So she's doing well. I mean, good for her.
Good for her.
So that just pretty much wraps up the Van Halen portion.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was good. One more thing about Eddie and Alex Van Halen. Originally, Eddie was on the drums and Alex played guitar, and then they switched.
Good thing they did, right?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I had looked this up. Rolling Stone had rated him number 8 greatest guitarist of all time. But I got to tell you something. I would put him in my top 5.
I can see that. Definitely. He's completely self-taught. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And considering that he had his own style.
Yeah.
That moves him right up the chain there, And
not only that, but he pushed guitar playing forward too. He was an innovator as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
He was awesome. All right. Time to vamoose.
Hey, absolutely.
We appreciate you listening. With that, we're out of here.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.